Welcome to the Network Encyclopedia. So imagine you need to send a secret message over the internet. The big problem, of course, is that the internet isn't private, not even close. Your message hops through all sorts of servers and routers, and really, anyone along that path could be taking a peek. So how on earth do we keep our information safe? But here's the real head-scratcher. How can two people who are complete strangers, who have never met, exchange secret, encrypted information, especially if they can't share a password or a key beforehand? Well, this is the exact puzzle that a truly brilliant concept called asymmetric encryption solves. And believe me, it protects just about everything you do online. Let's dive in and see how it works. To really get why this was such a massive breakthrough, we need to take a quick look at the old way of doing things. You see, before asymmetric encryption came along, the world pretty much relied on something called symmetric encryption. Now, the idea itself is actually pretty simple. Think of it like a locked box. If Alice wants to send a secret message to Bob, she just puts the message in the box, locks it with a key, and sends it on its way. Bob can open it because he has an identical copy of that exact same key. Easy enough, right? Well, not quite. This brings up a giant, glaring problem. If Alice and Bob have never met, how does she get that key to him securely? I mean, if she just sends the key over the same insecure network, an attacker could just snatch it right out of the air. And that right there is what's known as the key distribution problem. It was this huge challenge that basically stumped cryptographers for decades. Without a safe way to share the secret key, you just can't have secure communication on a global scale, like the internet, where you've got billions of devices that need to connect without knowing each other beforehand. Clearly, we needed a much, much better way. Then, back in the 1970s, a totally revolutionary idea came along and just completely changed the game. It was a complete paradigm shift, and it led to what we now call public key cryptography. The question that cryptographers started asking was, hey, what if we used two keys instead of just one? And this is the fundamental difference. We go from having one shared secret key to a pair of keys that are designed to work together. The first key is called the public key, and just like the name says, it's public. You can share it with anyone and everyone. You can post it on your website, you can shout it from the rooftops. It does not need to be a secret. Its one job is to lock or encrypt messages. The second key is the private key, and this one is your secret and yours alone. You have to guard this thing with your life because it must never be revealed to anyone. Its job is to unlock or decrypt the messages that were locked with your public key. And this is where the magic really happens. You see, these two keys are mathematically linked in a very special way. A message that gets encrypted with a public key can only be decrypted by its one and only matching private key. Get this, not even the original public key can undo the encryption. It's a brilliant one-way street that means anyone can send you a secret message, but only you can ever read it. I know, this can sound a little abstract, so let's use a super simple analogy to make it all crystal clear. The padlock. Okay, so imagine Bob wants to receive secure messages. He goes out and buys a special padlock, but it only comes with one key. What he does next is make hundreds of copies of the open padlock itself. This is his public key, and he just gives them out to everyone. Now, Alice wants to send Bob a secret. She takes one of his open padlocks, puts her message in a box, and just snaps the padlock shut. Once it's locked, that's it. Nobody can open it, not even Alice. Only Bob can, because he has the one unique key, his private key. And that's really it. That is the core idea. You use somebody's public key, their open padlock, to encrypt a message for them, and they use their private key to decrypt it. The whole key distribution problem? Solved. Because the thing you use to lock the message, the padlock, can be shared openly without any risk at all. Of course, your computer isn't actually sending tiny little physical padlocks across the internet. So how does this all work in the digital world? Well, the answer lies in some seriously clever mathematics. It's all based on something cryptographers call one-way functions. Now, these are basically just mathematical problems that are really easy to do in one direction, but are incredibly, almost impossibly difficult to do in reverse, unless you have a secret piece of information. A classic example of this is used in the RSA algorithm. It's super easy for a computer to take two massive prime numbers and multiply them together. But if you only have that final product, trying to work backwards to find the two original primes that made it, that is an astronomically difficult task. It would take the fastest computers we have centuries. This mathematical imbalance is what lets us create the public and private key pair. But check this out. Here's a fantastic twist.
This key pair can do more than just keep things secret. If you flip the process around, if you use your private key to sign a message, then anyone with your public key can check it and know for sure that the message really came from you and wasn't tampered with. This is the whole basis for digital signatures, which gives us not just secrecy, but also authenticity. So why does all this matter to you? Because you are using this technology constantly, every single day, probably without even thinking about it. That little padlock icon in your web browser, that's TLS, and it's powered by asymmetric encryption. It's also the backbone for securely connecting to remote servers with SSH. It verifies the software you download is legitimate. It secures your messages on apps like Signal, and it protects your cryptocurrencies and wallets. Okay, now here's something that surprises a lot of people. You'd think that because asymmetric encryption is so powerful, we just use it for everything, right? Well, we don't. There's a really important twist in how it's actually used in the real world. The main reason is that all of that complex math makes asymmetric encryption, well, kind of slow. It takes up a lot of processing power, which is not great if you're trying to encrypt huge streams of data, like when you're streaming a movie online. So what modern systems do is use a clever hybrid approach. They use the slow but super secure asymmetric encryption only for a brief moment at the start of a connection. And its only job is to safely exchange a brand new one-time use symmetric key. Then, once that's done, they switch over to the much, much faster symmetric encryption for the rest of the conversation. It really is the best of both worlds, the unbreakable security to get started and the blazing speed for all the heavy lifting. Honestly, the impact of this invention just cannot be overstated. It's the foundational technology that makes secure web browsing possible, online banking, cloud computing, you name it. Without public key cryptography, our digital world would be a far less secure and, frankly, a far less useful place. And it all comes back to solving that one profound problem. At the end of the day, asymmetric encryption gave us a way for two complete strangers, anywhere on the planet, to create a secure, private conversation over a completely open and public network. Just think, what would our digital lives even look like today if this problem had never been solved? If you enjoyed this explanation and want to learn more about networking and security concepts, check out the Network Encyclopedia channel and the full article linked in the description.